Well, look, people don't love January 6th, but I think they're a lot more worried about inflation and gasoline prices than January 6th. But who knows? Let's talk to our distinguished guest, Katie Pavlich, townhall.com editor, Fox News contributor, and Mercedes Schlapp, former White House Strategic Comms Director. Mercy, I don't know if you watched it. I didn't watch it. I was in an airplane coming back home, so I was crushed. I could have DVR'd it, but I didn't have any interest in DVRing it, to be honest with you. I want to DVR this show, but not that show. What did you take away from that, Mercy Schlapp?
Well, you know, Larry, don't worry. I watched it for you. So let me give you the takeaways here. One of the things I think really stood out was the fact that there was a huge security failure when Officer Caroline Edward went on and spoke about her situation at the time of January 6th, which, of course, was horrific, should have never happened. She kept saying how she didn't have enough resources. Every time they were calling for assistance, she wasn't getting the help of additional backup from the police officers, obviously. And so it was 5 against 100. So, of course, it was a horrifying situation. And it just showed that Pelosi failed in preparing for what we knew could be, a contentious situation January 6th. And then, I think secondly, what you also picked up was this filmmaker who was working with the Proud Boys and documenting their journey. And he never notified the FBI. He never notified the police that they were planning something on January 6th. I mean, quite frankly, Nick Quested, he's an accomplice in this whole matter. And I think you could totally see the political partisanship, the mere fact that their goal is to try to indict Trump for what happened on January 6th, and I truly think it fell flat.
Katie Pavlich, by the by, DeRoy Murdoch and others have written about this. Donald Trump asked for 20,000 National Guards troops before this rally, whatever we're going to call it, and he was denied by the mayor of Washington, D.C., and by the speaker, Nancy Pelosi. So if Trump wanted an insurrection and burn the building down and destroy democracy, how come he wanted 20,000 National Guards troops? And then how come none of them would grant him that request, Katie Pavlich?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I couldn't agree with what Mercedes said more about the security questions surrounding what happened before January 6th. There were warnings. There was intelligence at the federal level, which is why exactly President Trump asked for those National Guard troops. And what the January 6th committee, which is a committee that is not a normal committee with representation from both sides, having the minority, the Republicans, being able to choose which people are on that committee. Nancy Pelosi said no to that. The committee is not asking those questions. They're not asking questions that are accountable to the taxpayer, like why after 9/11 the Capitol building in the capital of the United States of America, Washington, D.C., was able to be overrun so quickly, and so many congressmen and, of course, senators and Vice President Mike Pence being put in danger as a result of that security measure. And for all of the talk that they say about not wanting this to ever happen again, this is one of the darkest days in history, they don't seem to be asking any questions or working through on this committee what they can do to prevent it in the future. They're simply talking about President Trump and getting rid of the Electoral College.
Yeah, that's right. There's a not so hidden legislative motive behind all this. But Mercy Schlapp, where's the conspiracy? Where's the smoking gun with Donald Trump? That's the thing. This thing, one reading that I have, they're trying to figure out a way to indict him so he can never run for president again. Where is this smoking gun?
Well, let's ask the ABC producer who's putting together these doctored videos and trying to make this case of where is the smoking gun, right? It's creating all this anticipation so that you're going to have additional hearings next week. And, we'll see how it goes in terms of people watching. I think that, there was this initial anticipation and people tuned into the hearings. But again, I think that the Democrats are going to have a very hard time making their case, especially when you're talking about families having to pay for $95 or even more to fill up their tanks. And people are talking about food prices going up. And the Democrats are solely focused on trying to change their political narrative because they've been failing when it comes to trying to address the economic needs of American families.
I mean, Katie, I'll give you the last word, because I think what Mercy just said is a big part of this. It's a distraction. And I don't know where they think this is going. I don't think it's going to go anywhere legislatively. They're going to lose the House and the Senate anyway. That's what this is. Or is this like a new employment ad for Liz Cheney after she loses her job in the House? I mean, I just, I don't get it.
Well, it's certainly been something that Liz Cheney's been fundraising off of, so that's been beneficial to her and other Democrats on the committee. But in terms of the issues here, Democrats can't talk about the baby formula crisis because this administration, which is run by a Democrat, caused that crisis. They can't talk about the inflation crisis because Democrats were the only ones who voted for President Biden's American Rescue Plan, which shot inflation through the roof. They can't talk about these issues that are affecting everyday Americans because they caused these problems and they have no solutions to fix it, especially since they've allowed the Bernie Sanders wing of the party to run both the legislative and the executive branch under President, moderate Joe Biden, so to speak. And so that's partially why they're doing this. They're also doing it to try to, solidify political power. And it's clear by the things that they're focusing on in that committee hearing yesterday and, of course, next week, that they're not interested in preventing the Capitol from being broken into. They're simply interested in making sure the blame is placed on Republicans in a last-ditch effort before the midterm elections.
Yep. I mean, I don't think nobody's happy about January 6th, but I think this thing is a kangaroo court. Just a big kangaroo court, Anyway, ladies, thank you very much. Katie Pavlich and Mercy Schlapp. We appreciate it.